So I'm here with John Schlesinger from Atos Consulting. John, I'm very interested to read your paper on what you term front, middle, back as an approach to enterprise architecture. Could you explain a little bit more about the philosophy behind front, middle, back?
Well, it came out of working in capital markets. The capital markets is a bit of banking where they do stocks, trade stocks and shares. And it used to all be accounting based, and it used to run in a 3-day cycle. So people would buy or sell shares on an exchange, and then bits of paper would go into the back office, and the back office would account for it, and 3 days later all the money had exchanged hands. And in the 90s, late 90s, it all automated, so the exchanges went electronic, so people just entered orders on a terminal somewhere, and then the whole process was traded straight through without any human intervention. It was called straight-through processing. And what we discovered was to make that happen, you couldn't just have a front and a back office. And the middle office grew up firstly as a way of making sure that you did trades that you should do, so measuring, keeping control of risk. But secondly, it became the place where the major workflow occurred, where you actually traded the stocks, completed the transaction electronically, confirmed the transaction back to the people ordering it, updated your positions and your profit and loss, and then updated the books and records.
So the front office was mainly concerned with
placing the orders, sales.
And the middle office with
the financial transaction and transacting the actual stocks.
And the back office
was for the clearing and settlement.
And so what you seem to have described there is a business architecture, if you like. Was that reflected in the way IT was provisioned as well?
Yes. On capital markets, in order to go straight through, they had to create this. They thought they just needed a front and back office. They discovered they needed the thing in the middle. But they needed it for a bunch of reasons. One of which, primarily, it was for managing risk. But it turned out it was also the IT-heavy bit of the process.
So I'm assuming you think this architecture can be replicated in areas of business and other organisations other than financial services?
I didn't to begin with. But having done straight-through processing for capital markets, I then did some work in the travel business, working on global distribution systems. And it turns out they do exactly the same thing. You have a booking engine like Expedia or Travelocity, and that does the front office. You then have the global distribution system, which does the middle. And then you have the airline reservation systems themselves that do the inventory management. They do the clearing and settlement, fulfillment. And then discovered that in retail, as retail went straight through, as it went to e-commerce, that Amazon evolved exactly the same architecture for what they do. So in Amazon, it used to be that you'd choose your book, and then you'd enter your payment details.
And then you get that pause
and
whilst you waited for your credit card. I remember.
Please wait, don't press the back button.
Or catastrophe will occur, yeah.
We could charge you 100 times, or possibly the end of the earth will occur. Right? And they stopped doing that. I guess they probably stopped doing that around about 99, 2000, maybe 98. And originally they stopped doing that to scale up. It was just faster not to have to do that wait. They occupy too many resources. So they separate the front from the middle, doing the checking your credit card. But they discovered that if you do that, it has product implications, that they were able to create the Amazon marketplace because they've now dissociated the thing that delivers the product from the ways that you the channels of access for placing orders. So I was then doing some retail banking work with Canadian Imperial, and I suggested to them that maybe they should do the same thing. I said, currently you're based on branch accounting. Branch accounting seems like the wrong way to be, because first of all you should be doing risk, not accounting, as your basic architecture. And secondly, nobody, since the ATMs, and the branches are basically meaningless. You can't make an assumption that all transactions occur via a branch. So we explored there what it would look like to move to a front, middle, back. And it fitted Canadian Imperial Retail like a glove.
So there seem to be at least 3 reasons for taking this architectural style, if that's the right phrase. One, the user experience can be enhanced because you're not waiting for these risk transactions or checks to happen whilst you're trying to buy stuff. 2, there's a scalability angle as well. And 3, it also supports multi-channels, new channels, because you're middle flexibility. Oh, that's interesting. More detail on this can be found on your paper on nextpracticeadvisory.com.
Yeah. One last word on it. The architecture that we go for is event-based, business event-based. And there is a theoretical justification for front, middle, back, but I didn't discover that a long time after I'd been practicing it. Which is from the accounting profession. They have a thing called resources, events and agents as a way of broadening accounting from bookkeeping to record keeping. And the events there are non-economic events, which are the front office events, economic financial events, which are the middle office events, and economic resource events, which are the back office events. So that theoretical view says that if you take an event-based view of record keeping, you're bound, no matter what it is you're keeping records of, to end up with front, middle, back.
And record keeping and the automation thereof is a subject of another talk that we'll be having. Thanks, John, very much.